So another very interesting thing happened to me. I had a friend, and he was in my class at school, in grammar school. And this is when I was 12 years old. Now, his folks had a ranch just above the normal school, and they raised cattle quite a bit. And they had a very beautiful black horse, and this fellow named was Charlie Holland. And he had a brother who was about a year or two under his age. And they had some relatives with a big cattle ranch up in the Methow Valley. Now, the Methow Valley is about 150 miles north of Ellensburg, and it's you go from Ellensburg, you go to Wenatchee, and from Wenatchee to Chelan. From Chelan, you go up to a little town of Methow, and then you go up the Methow River about 40 miles, where this kid was herding cattle on this beautiful black horse. Well, Charlie came to me. He said, we both had bicycles. He said, Mother has got to be operated on for appendicitis, which at that time was a very serious thing. Very few people had been successfully operated on for appendicitis at that time. Anyway, he says she won't have the operation until he sees my brother. And he says, I've got to go. There's only one way I can go, and that's take the bicycle and go up there, and I'd like to have you go along. And I said, sure. So Mother, she was always wonderful about those things. I could walk out among the rattlesnakes, and she'd never worry about it. But anyway, we left Ellensburg in the afternoon and went out 12 miles to a farmhouse, Snebley's. They had a great big cattle ranch that ran their cattle all over the hills east of Ellensburg. And that's the base, or the opening of what they call the Clockham Pass. Now, the Clockham Pass Road goes right up over those mountains, and I don't know how high. To me, they were about 10 miles, I think, but I think probably around 4,000 or 5,000 feet. But anyway, it was a big deal. Well, you couldn't ride a bike up. You had to walk and push the bike. So Charlie and I got to the top of the hill and started down, and while we were riding along the top of the hill, Charlie was riding ahead of me, and he ran over the biggest rattlesnake I ever saw in my life. Oh, he was big. And so we stopped and killed him. 14 rattles in a button, and that was just one we run over. We saw lots of them. Anyway, you go across the Clockham Pass, and you go down this big mountain to the Columbia River, 12 miles south of Wenatchee. Well, when we rode down the hill, just about the time we hit the road down on the Columbia River, we both had punctures in our tires. We didn't. You don't have any spare tires. We had a little patch kit and all that sort of thing, but tires, it's pretty rocky and rough up over those mountains. And it so happened that both our tires, neither of the bikes could ride. And so we pushed those, and the riverbed of Columbia River, where that road was sand, and it was deep sand. You couldn't ride a bike on it anyway. But we kids walked up that road till finally, about 5 miles out of Wenatchee, we got a ride. A farmer came along, took us in. We had some friends, my folks had friends that used to go to the same church in Ellensburg, and they went to Wenatchee and put in a grocery store. And Fleming, their name was. So we stopped at Fleming's, and they took us in. You know, at that time, you could go to most any house out in the country or any place, and they welcome you. They take you in, they give you something to eat, and they put you to bed or anything and rest, you know. It's something you don't find nowadays. Well, anyway, so we left there the next morning. We had, I think, 50 miles which seemed like a lot longer, till we got to the Chelan, and we made that in a day. And we stayed the night at Chelan City. Now, Chelan is one of the most beautiful lakes that you can find. And as I understand, the deepest lake, I don't think they ever found bottom in one certain place of it. Well, anyway, that was about the time that the government had put the Indians on reservations. So now Chelan, there was a lot of Indians there because it was a reservation up. But around the mouth of the as I recall it, the mouth of the Methow, there was quite a Indian reservation there. Well, it's not very. You figure in the 1800s, you wouldn't want to see a couple of kids around with drunken Indians all over the place. So we would, at night, we would find a place where we could run our bikes, take them off the road. And when we did, we would cut down a piece of sagebrush. We carried a little bit of a hatchet with us, and pocket knife. And we cut down a little brush and tie it behind the thing so as it would wipe out the tracks of the bike, see, and our own tracks, which I thought was pretty clever at the time. And I remember one time we were asleep up there in a few little trees kind of hid us. There was a bunch of drunken Indians went by and hollering and yelling, and oh, we were scared now, I'm telling you. So anyway, we got to the Methow, and what a beautiful little valley that is. We rode 50 miles up there, and I think we did that deal in 4 days. Now, I'm not sure, it may have been 5. And when we got there, here's this boy, of course, glad to see us with that big black horse. And I think within 15 minutes of the time we got there, that kid was going down the road about 40 miles an hour, just as fast as he could go. Well, he rode straight down Owensburg without stopping. So his mother was operated on, came out of it fine, but quite a little chore.